the ingenuity of Liberians in and out of Liberia by sharing their successes, challenges, entrepreneur endeavors, and much more with the intent to inspire other upcoming changemakers. The 1847 show also promotes the Liberian culture by creating a space for individuals to learn the history of our nation, to find solutions to problems that affect our country today. For this and much more, stay tuned for all things Liberian. We'll be right back after this short break.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C, O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco_LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco_LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on formerly Twitter and now X. So let's go, 2024. See you.
Hello, my name is Grace Choma Baba, founder of Destiny Creative Organization and owner at Janice Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.
Welcome back. You're watching the 1847 show, and this is season 2, episode 4, which is part of our series called Entrepreneurship Essentials. This series is dedicated to unraveling the secrets of successful entrepreneurs by sharing real stories aimed at empowering our other generations to take actionable steps in the dynamic world of business. Entrepreneurship in Liberia holds immense promise, offering a pathway to economic growth, job creation, reduce income inequality. It is a catalyst for innovation, which will help enhance our nation's resilience in a rapidly changing world. Today, our guest is Mr. Harold Jones, who is the founder and CEO of a digital IT company called Space. Mr. Jones is a young and ambitious IT professional who is on a mission to find technological solutions that are centered around humans. He aims to bridge the gap of IT solutions that excludes the needs of those who are intended to benefit from the systems and technology created by big corporate institutions. We're going to go ahead and welcome our guest. Mr. Harold, how are you? Welcome to the 1847 show.
Thank you, sir. It's glad to be here. I'm well and good. How are you?
I'm doing fine myself. We're asking how are we as if we didn't just talk in the background for a few minutes. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. So for those that are watching, of course, please, you can stay engaged by commenting and we'll bring your comments on the screen. And if you're not following, please make sure you follow the 1847 show. We have a lot more beautiful content for today, a very interesting story of Mr. Harold, and then for things to come as well. So you definitely want to follow the 1847 show. So let's kick off with, your
Right.
upbringing. You were raised by a single mother who was a banker. In what ways did having a mom with a professional job shape your childhood? Because many people, when they are brought up, it's a single mother situation still, but without the professional job. So how did that shape your childhood to be the man that you are today?
Thank you. Amazing. I would say to that, it added that level of professionalism from the start, from the onset, because I saw her work hard to make ends meet. I saw her did some amazing things that set the foundation, set the path for where I am today. So to that, it added that level or that spice of being professional and much more engaging with the career path that I choose.
Awesome. And your mom wasn't just a professional, right? She was also a woman of faith, which influenced how you were
That's
raised.
correct.
Yes, how you were raised. So tell us the values that she instilled in you as you grew up and how that helped you establish some biblical principles like Proverbs 16, verse 3, that says, commit to the Lord, whatever you do, and he will establish your plans.
The
How
plans.
did your upbringing
I can see you did your research. Yeah, that's my anchored scripture, Proverbs 16. Yeah. And there are many things I would say, but then first on the list will be patience. I've learned how to wait, not just wait for the physical things, but wait for also spiritual things. One of the things that I really learned from childhood was waiting. Everything that I wanted, she will provide, but with time. So when mom says, I will do this, it's just like saying, wait, you have it. So waiting of all the many things, of all the many virtues, of all the many morals, waiting will be the top on my list.
yes, good things come to those who wait, is what
Wait,
you say.
exactly. Yeah. And waiting and being patient while waiting, sometimes you are waiting for something you're expecting, but you're losing it, Yeah.
Yeah, and what another saying how it goes is good things that do not happen overnight. You do
Sure,
not
for sure.
become what you want. You do not achieve your dreams overnight. You got to be patient. So that's good. And that Proverbs Bible verse definitely it was based on research. And I know everyone, especially people of faith, have a specific scripture that they're drawn to. So we wanted to share that to get your take on it. But in
Yeah.
addition to that, when we're pursuing our dreams and we're trying to find our purpose, there's always a moment of enlightenment, where you then realize that, this is what I'm interested in. And for you, this came at the age of 10, when you own your first PlayStation, you realize that I'm really interested in this. I'm interested in what happens behind the scenes, not necessarily the game that I'm playing, but the creation of the games. So how were you able to find the resources to develop your skills at such a young age in a country like Liberia?
Great. I was fortunate to be birthed in the technology era, and that's a blessing alone. That's a blessing that has laid a foundation for this journey. So, just being born in this era where everything is available, if you search for it, if you search whatever you want on YouTube, whatever you want on Google, whatever you want on any search engine, you will find it. So, out of curiosity, I just wanted to know how the people created these things. I don't just want to play games. I don't just want to play FIFA or NBA or wrestling or whatever game it is. I want to know what's behind those games. So what I would do will always be going online, searching Google. By then Google was already in existence because we're talking like 2009, 2010. So it was already there. YouTube was already there, but not so exposed. So I would just go online, how to do this, how is this done, how can I go about this, and all of the amazing things I saw I made. I was just downloading those information and like taking it on, taking it on, taking it on, and there we can see right now the foundation has been laid. So to that, I'm just grateful that this era that I was born in, it just set that pace for the journey. That is the establishment for me.
Right. And the next question is because a lot of times in our Liberian context, what people fail to realize is even if we have limited resources, the thing is there is still resources there available. So with you, with the time of the evolution of the digital stage in Liberia, I'm assuming you could have made a million excuses of why you could not be the thing that you wanted to be. right? But you still yet went ahead and found those resources, even if they were little, you took advantage of them. So, what would you say to a person who might have a similar mindset? Hey, I want to do this. Maybe not in the context of IT, maybe being a pilot, but there are limited options in Liberia. What would you say? What are ways that they can still groom that skills with the little resources that they have available to them while being in Liberia?
Great. Allow me to be straightforward with this. Do it. Like, what's the catch? What's the stop? Why aren't you doing it? I read something sometime back by Denzel Washington. He said ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So if you just want to take things easy, that's a threat alone. So just do it. Surround yourself with people who are already doing this. You don't have to be perfect from the start. Just humble your small beginning and do it. Whatever you want to do, do it.
Just do it.
But not whatever, but whatever legal thing you want to do.
I like the clarification because nowadays you can't just speak. You got to speak with your own,
Yeah.
yeah, with your own
So
decision.
whatever thing you find to do, if that thing is right, if that thing is legal, if that thing is admirable, do it. I've learned this
That sounds like a
interesting
Bible verse,
concept.
my man. Hmm.
Yeah, it's actually from the Bible. Like whatever.
Whatever is just, whatever is admirable, whatever is.
Right. So much more of what I'll be saying might be scripture backed. That is because of my upbringing. So you'll just get to hear some interesting verses. Don't be afraid.
No, no
But
problem.
I was saying there's this interesting concept called the ikigai, and that is like the reason for being. And I feel like that's something every human being needs to know. Like, what is your reason for being? The moment you realize that, the moment you learn that, whatever you want to do, you would do it. So the concept is basically in four paradigms. That is, do what you love, do what the world needs, do what makes you happy, and do what gives you money. The moment you realize those four things, you just do whatever you want if it's in line with them. So that concept has laid my foundation as well.
So, on the lines of finding your purpose, essentially, how do you determine what your purpose is, what you're called to do, or what you enjoy doing? Yeah, awesome,
How
awesome.
did I find mine? Interesting. I would say mine was not so easy, but then to some extent it was easy because I would say God actually made it clear. But other than that, it's about passion as well. What are you passionate about? What am I passionate about? Computers. Like I love computers so much that I don't know when was the last time I went a day without actually touching a computer. I just can't remember. So that was my love and my passion. Then out of that curiosity came in like, so now I know how to operate this thing. How do I build software that people can use as they operate this thing? So out of curiosity, wanting to find out why things are done the way they are, why this should be this, why the control key is where it is, why the shift key is where, just understanding why, being so curious and inquisitive, why things are the way they are. I mean, it's just so interesting and it'll get you a long place.
Yeah. Sometimes they say curiosity kill the cat, but sometimes curiosity is what gives you answers, and is what pushes boundaries for you to determine and challenge the status quo. So absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. So considering that you as an individual, you started off with IT from a very early age, being curious, wanting to know the whys, how important do you think for children or people that are into IT, how do you think, or how important is it for them to start from a very early age like you, or even earlier than you, and to be as successful as you or more successful? Do they need to start from as soon as they're born, give them something, teach them a programming language from the time that they're 3 years old? How important are those stages in a person's life who's interested in IT?
It's very important. I'm glad that you said interested because first you need to want it. If you don't want it, then you don't need to go for it. But it's very important for someone highly interested to learn from a young age. Now, if the resources are not there for you to start at a young age, well, I won't say that's a problem, but then just surround yourself, try to engage with others who already have those resources to help you along way. And the good thing about now, everything is available, everything is there. The internet has made our lives easier. So that may be a problem if you're not having, if you lack those resources, but just find, connect yourself, go in places where they are, ask questions. If you can afford internet, I know there's a huge digital divide in Liberia right now where many people have access to technology and others don't. We're not going to talk about the governmental side about that, but I feel like if you don't have those things, you should just find a way, ask someone who has it, ask them if you can use it, if they know how to operate it, ask them to teach you. The one who asks question will never get lost. The one who seeks knowledge will always find, right?
Yeah.
So if you want it, just go after it, seek it with clarity, just seek it, that's all.
Right. And then on the side of resources being available or not being available, I know one of the things that everybody at minimum have in Liberia, if it's still not in existence, then I can be corrected. But it's the issue of free basics, and that's when Facebook and other of these big companies
Yeah, I
decided to
remember
give
that.
people access to the internet, even though you might not be able to see your picture or do certain things, but you still have access to the internet somewhat. And I think even with that limited resource, there is still so much that can be done. Now, you might say, I cannot watch a video, I cannot see pictures, but now you
But
are
you can
still on
read.
the internet. Yes, you're
But
still
you
on
can
the internet.
read.
You can still ask questions. You can find people who are into IT in other countries and chat with them, right? And it's just the mindset of finding solutions with the resources, with the limited resources that we have.
You have,
At
yeah.
no point in our own lives or in our country's life are we going to be able to change things for the better without asking questions, without challenging the status quo, and most importantly, without using the little resources that Liberia has given us. At no
Right. If
point.
you wait for the best resource, you won't get it. You remember how when we always talk, you would say, just start small, start with what you have, and embrace your humble beginning. Yeah, you don't need to wait for the. I have some friends who will usually tell me, I really want to learn how to build this or do that, but I don't have a MacBook. I'm like, but you have an HP or Dell. Why not use that? Actually, it can do that. The only thing about the MacBook is the name and the brand, but
Yes.
everything the MacBook does, and HP can do that. And for some point, I was also in that category of people. When I
Mhm.
was learning to build mobile application, I was like, I already need a MacBook, I already need a Mac, I already need a Mac. Because if I build this app, it won't work on Android, it won't work. I can't test it on iOS and all that. But then I got the realization, like, dude, wait, pause. You don't need it. You don't need it. You have this already. This can get you a long way. This can actually make you the money to buy what you want. So you don't need the right tools or equipment. You just need to be focused. You just need the drive and the passion, and you seek and you do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So fast forward between 2018 and 2019, you attended Stella Marie's and Blue Crest, but you were pursuing something, kind of different, not even kind of, very different.
Very different. Very different.
I'm trying to be a little understanding, but very different from IT. And why is that? Why would you pursue management when you already knew at this point that you had a fascination about IT and you wanted to pursue it in some sense? Why study management at college level?
Man, sometimes you want to do things to please the people you love and the people around you, right? So you're like, if I'm from a business oriented family, why not just try to do something that goes in line with the family goals and values? So I was like, mom was a banker, a very good accountant. My sister is a very good. In fact, I'm from a family of business majors, so I felt like if I go out of that circle, I'll be breaking the chain a little bit. But then it just didn't work for me because the 2 semesters I did a management for, it didn't work, man. It was not interesting. Then fast forward, as I was doing the management, I was also going to Blue Crest at the same time. So I was probably trying to do a double degree. But
Mhm.
then the same thing with Blue Crest, it was not quite aligning with what I wanted. So I had to quit.
Awesome, awesome. And that's the problem a lot of our people face. And I say a lot about people because we have been able to, rise out of that and pursue what we want, get a degree in what we want. But there are still people who are in high school who are trying to figure out what's next. But then they are faced with other societal challenges, societal barriers like, hey, these are the jobs that you want to do. You want to be a teacher, you want to be a doctor,
Mm,
a lawyer, very limited options. Or they're faced with options from their parents, what their parents have done. Not necessarily bad things, but the career development opportunities in Liberia is very limited. So, what was it? Just the struggles that you had in school that made you think, I cannot do this forever, or was it more than that? Was it you also understanding, man, maybe you know what, I'm more truly passionate about this, and I should pursue that because it's what's going to give me happiness. What exactly was it that made you decide to fully commit to IT?
one was lack of interest from management. Two, it was like I felt like I was wasting my time, my energy, and my resources going to a class that I had no interest in, or doing things that I had no interest in doing. That was the reason I dropped out first. Then also the desire was inside, like you could feel it. This is not where you want to be. And if you stay the next 4 years in this environment, it's like you are moving in backward direction. You're not moving forward. So thinking about it for a while, I'm like, let me take a year off and see what's going to happen. Because if I stay here, we're paying tuition, but I'm not making the most out of the opportunity. So I would say that was a waste of money in actual sense. So take a time off, talk to your parents, tell them actually what you want to do. And the funny thing is, the moment I even went to talk to them about it, they were actually interested. So imagine that year that I just wasted my time if I had done that. But
Yeah,
anyways, I feel like the struggle we have right now, I feel like from senior level in high schools or other vocational schools, people should have some level of career guidance so that when you leave college, you're not intimidated by what your friends are studying or what your parents studied. Maybe from a senior level, if you try to engage with some mentors and some programs that will help you guide your career and your plans, I mean, it will be much more easy for you to know what to do when you leave school. But what we have right now is not really there, but I believe it should be there in the long run.
absolutely, absolutely. And good on your parent to be able to embrace your idea, your pursuit of something different than what they did. Because most people, at least initially, will oppose that and say, "What are you trying to do? What are you crazy? This doesn't make money, or you're not going to be successful." And they will tell you all the things that will make you think about your life in multiple ways from multiple different perspectives. So good on them to support you and allow you to pursue what you are truly passionate about because you will never find fulfillment in doing things that other people want you to do. Absolutely not.
Right. You
Absolutely
just be a people pleaser, and
not.
that's like
Exactly.
sort of a failure.
Exactly. Now, another reason why we brought you on the show, my man, is because of your entrepreneur mindset, which dates as far back as your childhood. Now, tell us about your experience while you were in Liberia. Of course, for those of you that are not that are watching, if you're not aware, he's currently based in Uganda, which we'll get into once we go on our break and we'll come back. But your entrepreneur mindset dates as far back as Liberia, where you were a child, using your skills that you acquired to do little projects here and there for people, for organizations, churches. But then you went beyond that. You used a platform called Fiverr, and you were on
Yeah.
there. People around the world would hire you to do different graphic work or IT related work. So tell us about that experience. How are you able to take advantage of that? Again, being from a country like Liberia, where things just seems to be not an option. Like many people will not even know that you can sell your skill and you can make money being from Liberia, essentially creating your own job. How are you able to do that?
Right. Thank you. Creativity is very costly. It's I would say it's to some extent priceless. Though we try to add a figure to that. I had done that because, or I was able to do that because I needed to have some money in my pocket. Not that I was broke, I wasn't. I had food on my table, my family provided everything, but I just felt the need to have something for myself as well. I did mention from the start of this interview that I'm from a business major family. So pretty much of the things I was seeing around is business oriented. You would see Zenith multi-purpose company. I don't know if you've ever heard about it. That's being ran by my family. And watching them run a company, start different entrepreneurship endeavor, I'm like, oh, I think I should start something with the skills and the talents I have. So I went to Fiverr, created an account, uploaded a few things I've done. I would literally get some work to do for free so that people can see what I was doing. So I was designing church posters, I was designing website interfaces, I was designing logos. So I would charge $5 for a poster and $10 for a logo. I managed to make a few, not a fortune, but I got a few amount. I didn't save that money honestly. I ate it. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so I made a few from Fiverr. I got a few people to do some logo for them. I think they were not so good, but then the mindset to get started and to have money for yourself, I mean, it laid that foundation. So I did like two different works on Fiverr. I got $40. The first one was 20, the second was 20. So I made a total of $40 on Fiverr. Then I did additional, I think, five free work just to be known. Then in churches, my first big work that I did was for a church. I had done a couple of branding for them, and the people watching, please, I ate that money. They paid me $500, but I ate the money. That was a long time ago, so don't ask me.
Ask you for summer. I remember when I let a year money on. They said, "Oh, you got it." And
That was in
especially,
2016 or 17. So that money I ate it. Don't worry, it's not there anymore.
absolutely, absolutely. But that's good. That's good. And then for people who are creative professionals today, is that still an option for them to go on Fiverr and utilize their creative skills to make some revenue?
Yes, it is, but entirely, I wouldn't recommend that for someone who wants to get rich from that. It's a good place to get started, but it's not a good place to sustain yourself. Okay, I'm not limiting the platform. What I'm saying is it will get you started. It will make you a few amounts. It can make you a lot of money, but I feel like if you start something of your own, that way you have control. Because what Fiverr does, they have a percentage on what you make. So they will cut a small fee from that. But if you're able to get started, freelance, get people, tell them this is what I can do. These are my services. These are my rates. These are my prices. If you are comfortable with getting started that way, then you should go for it. But Fiverr is a good place to actually network and build communication. And the advantage of it is you can go there, get clients, and then get them off the platform so that they can be your personal client. I think I did that for a while.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's a good place to get started, and I'll recommend it to people. But if you want to be in the Fiverr game for a long run, then if you're business oriented, I would not recommend that for you. I would say it's a place to get started. Then when you are thinking, when you have the vision to go forward, like far, you want to start something of your own, like me right now, then just lay low on the Fiverr when you get started and focus on building your company or whatever you decide to build.
Absolutely. Add it to your resume, get the experience, but dream
Yeah.
dream bigger. Absolutely. So you currently reside in Uganda, like I mentioned. We'll talk more about this, where you study computer science with emphasis in human-centered design and engineering. So based on your experience, how would you rate the quality of schools in Liberia and Uganda? You can be as
Amazing.
honest as you need to be. Of course, we're professionals here. We love Liberia, so if there's anything we need to change and do, let us know.
I'm,
But be
I'm,
as
I'm gonna
honest
be
as you can
straightforward with this. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Yeah.
be. Yes,
Let me
sir.
be straightforward. Liberians are amongst the smartest people in this world, and I stand to be challenged with that statement. We are amongst the smartest people in this world. Like if you backtrack all the Liberians who had the opportunity to study somewhere else, if you look at their academic performance compared to people of that country they're in, you understand that these guys, they are like very rare people. They understand when they understand. But the unfortunate thing about us is we don't have the right people to train us in that case in these things we want to do. So we outsource, we go out to study. Truth be told, it's much more exciting to study from here. And it's quite complex and complicated, but then after doing 24 subjects in high school, I mean, Liberia lays the foundation that you can face any challenge. Yeah. So it's just that we don't have the resources to, I shouldn't say we have them, but we are not using them because we have very intelligent, smart people there, but they are not teaching what they should be teaching. And the curriculum should, I would say it's somehow outdated because you're learning things in school that sometimes you don't need in the real world. Like, why? Why teach me things
That's a
I
global challenge,
don't
though.
need?
I'm not defending Liberia, but that's a global challenge. Even in the American educational system, people are like, "Why are we not learning about money? Why are we not learning about filing taxes?" You know, we
Financial literacy. People
yes.
should be learning that.
Mhm.
People should have computer digital literacy from the start of school. But you're teaching me things I don't really need. But we shouldn't go into that. I mean, it's much more exciting to study from outside. I'm not saying Liberia does not have what it takes. We do have it. We are very smart. We have the potential to make Liberia what we want. But I don't know for whatever reason we are not doing that. And thanks to people like you're like the model citizen having this show to get the message out. I mean, there should be much more of these things happening so that people can get to understand these things. We can do it. We have what it takes. But I don't know why we are not doing this. I
Well,
just don't know why. I'm here to understand.
awesome. And if that's the fact, that is the fact. That's part of the reason why God has called people like yourself and other people that we interview on this platform to help change that, right? To change our society for the better. So for those that are watching and have been privileged to step outside of Liberia, keep in mind, I'm an agent of God, a messenger of God. If you didn't know,
Right,
but He told me to tell you that the only reason He's taking you out of Liberia is to prepare you to return.
right,
And I'm quiet because I want you to think about that. It's to prepare you to return. If God has blessed you and you have left Liberia, went to whatever country, Africa, Asia, Europe, America, doesn't matter, Australia or the Antarctica, if you're interested, if you're that smart and you're able to land in the Antarctica because you're doing research with scientists, that's good. But my point is, God did not bless you for you to be able to go there and stay there. No, it's to take advantage of the resources that are there and bring it back to our motherland. But let's not get too
right.
involved into that. That could be a whole nother
And,
interview.
anyways, before we move on, let me just say this.
Mhm.
Not everyone will have the opportunity to leave the country. Not everyone will have the opportunity to study outside. For some of us who had that opportunity, thank God, we take advantage of it. And it's upon us that what we've gained and what we've learned to share those knowledge with people who will not have those opportunities. Because for sure, not everyone will travel. Not everyone will study in America or Asia or wherever you want. Not everyone will do that. So as an agent of change, if I were to give example of myself, I would say I'm confident saying that I can relocate to Liberia and start something and do something that will help the other people and just make things great there. I'm not saying I'm Jesus Christ to do that, but I'm his child, so I have the potential and ability to do it.
Traits. Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. So we're at the halfway point of this interview. And for those that are watching, Mr. Jones, can you please take the time and tell them why it's important to follow the 1847 show before we go on our break?
If you're watching and you've been listening to what we are talking, I think that's enough for you to know that you need to follow. Because this is a platform that, like Mr. Jabo said, highlights the ingenuity of Liberians in and out of Liberia. And this is actually to get messages across to everyone so that you can know that Liberians are doing a great job wherever they are. Um, if you have the opportunity to share this, please do right now. Don't keep it to yourself because these are insightful conversations that we are engaging in. And don't be selfish. Share it. Share it. Let it go virus. Some
Amen.
TikTok friend said that.
Amen. And thank you for that as well. And for those that are watching, if you're like, oh, when is a good time to for me to follow? Let me think. When we go on a break, it's about 2 minutes long. You can leave. You go. You follow. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube, Twitter as well. So you can definitely follow us and come back and continue watching because you have about 2 to 3 minutes of our break. And also,
And don't just watch, like and share.
yes.
Comments as well.
Yes, we have comments coming in. Thanks to those that are commenting. As you can see, we're showcasing it on the screen here. But also, what I want you guys to know is you can also follow, which we'll talk about his company here in a bit, Space. They're on Facebook. You can follow them at Space Digital. They're also on Instagram. Um, you can follow them on Instagram as well. So do those things. Take a break. We'll be right back. And thanks for joining. Honestly, it's been interactive. Keep commenting. If you have questions or anything you would like to know about the interviewee, please put them in the comments. We'll try to get to them. But stay tuned, and we have a lot more content for you. We'll be right back.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco_LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco_LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on formerly Twitter and now X. So let's go, 2024. See
Hello, my name is Grace Choma Baba, founder of Destiny Creative Organization and owner at Janine's Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things like you. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things like you.
Welcome back to the 1847 show. I'm your host, Prince Larmain Jarbo, and this is season 2, episode 4, which is part of our series called Entrepreneurship Essentials. This series is dedicated to unraveling the secrets of successful entrepreneurs by sharing real stories aimed at empowering young entrepreneurs to take actionable steps to excel in the dynamic world of business. Our guest today is Mr. Harold T. Jones, who is the founder and CEO of the digital company called Space. We'll bring our guest back to the screen. Mr. Jones, how are you? How is the interview so far?
We're having a good time. I'm enjoying it.
Awesome, awesome. Glad to hear. So now we'll talk a little bit about your time, in Uganda. So as you mentioned, part of the reason you left Liberia was to pursue a curriculum that was challenging in new ways, which you said that you were able to find that as well. So how was your transition as an international student in another African country while managing the effects of COVID?
Wow. Amazing. 2020, when I came to Uganda, it was quite an exciting experience. But then 3 months into my stay in Uganda, it became a nightmare. Um, if anyone was watching the news by 2020 about Uganda when COVID happened, you will know that we were in one of the most restricted countries on earth. There was a total lockdown by March, and when I say lockdown, absolutely no moving. Like, so just leaving Liberia in January, started school in Feb, was having a good time catching up with the food, with the culture, with the people, with the tall buildings, with the great innovation, and with all the amazing things that this country has to offer. Just when we reached March, COVID happened and the country got shut down. So I felt like I was in hell. Like I couldn't do anything. If you needed to go to get food or go to get cash from the ATM, you walk like 20 to 30 minutes just to go and 20 to 30 minutes to get back home. So it was a very terrible experience. I felt like, God, why am I here? Can I just go back? There were no flights going back. Airports are locked, borders are locked. You are just indoor. You're growing fat. Though I was not growing fat, but you're like just there thinking about, so what now? What can I do with this life? Like, I even had a friend who almost went into depression because what was happening was very terrible. You're in another country, you don't have your family with you, you don't have much of it, you don't have much resources with you. But I used that moment to make the most of my life. So while in that lockdown, I started to teach myself a lot of the things that I know now. It was hard for me from the start, but I knew it was not ending anytime soon. The lockdown ended sometime in, I think, October or November. So just looking at that time frame, I was like, if I wait for this thing to get ended before my life moves, then no, we're not doing that right now. So I used that time to just reflect on what I wanted to do in life, more on that, to just learn some new things, continue studying online, and just explore the world of technology in a much more amazing way.
Right, right. And the one common trait that you will see is the mindset, right? Is the mindset of what can I do now, even though the world may not be going the way that I want it to go. So just having that mindset, things to take away from this interview based on Mr. Jones's story is the mindset of trying to find ways to make things happen. How can you still make things happen? You're in Liberia, you don't have anybody in anywhere to send for you to travel, to pursue your education, but how can you still make things happen? Because at the end of the day, if you do not make things happen, guess what? Things will happen to you, regardless. So you got to choose which side you want
Yeah,
to.
right,
Yeah, choose which side you want to be on. And
right.
thanks for sharing that as well. So as a student, things got better, of course, and you did a research publication. Can you share a little bit about that research publication for us?
Amazing. I would count that as, other than space, the publication of my research is right now my much more greater achievement, and I count it as a joy. So my research was based on mobile augmented reality in e-learning. So it sounds big, but it's not. So what I was trying to, or the problem I was solving, is trying to allow students to learn with 3D objects. So augmented reality, it's a technology that uses 3D objects and place those objects in the real world. So using your smartphone or whatever smart device you have, you can
Right.
out of a humor into your real environment, see it in 3D, see the four chambers of the heart, see whatever you want to do. A typical example of augmented reality, the easiest example I can give would be Snapchat filter, or Instagram filter. If you ever use any of those filters, you know that when you take your phone and you place it on your selfie, something comes on your face. So that concept, I was trying to use it in e-learning. So I built an app that
Hmm.
took the same concept but changed the filters to 3D objects and shapes to teach people.
Okay, man.
And immediately after I wrote that paper, it got published and the app was built immediately. Right now, it's not fully out, it's still in pilot launch, but with time, I'm working on releasing it.
Okay. What is the targeted audience in terms of people who could benefit from this? I know you said students, but specifically country wise, what demographic of people are you trying to target?
So by the time I was doing that, my targeted audience was at school, at university. I was actually building the app for my colleagues, like university students. Then after some conversation with a few people, they are like, "This is an interesting concept that can be scaled, but in as much as it is interesting, it's also costly to build." But I managed to get some things done with the help of my supervisor and a few people. So at the time of development, it was just for people at school, at campus. But after some conversation with people who found interest in it, told me that, hey, listen, we can actually scale this thing. We can now try to get it out somewhere. But if I were to get it out, the first place I want that to be is in Liberia. Because Uganda already has it. They don't need mine. They already have a lot of technology here. I don't think they need mine. Liberia doesn't have, Liberia needs it. So if in the long run I'm getting that app to be released, it has to be Liberia first.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Awesome work. Now, the actual research itself, the article, is that something that is available widely to people, students in Liberia? Let's say if they're doing a school project or research that they can read and reference your article as some academic article?
Yes, it is. I'll share the link in the comment section, or after the video gets posted, I will share the link. It's on African Journal, African British Journal. So if you just search probably my full name, or you just search the research title, which is Mobile Augmented Reality Module in E-Learning, with a case study on Cavendish University, Uganda. I know that's too long, so I will leave that in the comments. You can, anyone looking forward to having that done, you can check it out. It's also on ResearchGate. ResearchGate is a very popular research platform. You can just go there, type my full name, and you will see something. And let me share this: when the paper got published, right,
Hmm.
in a week, I got like 200 reads. In the following week, it was about 2,000 reads. Like, how
Man,
did that happen? Like,
that's crazy.
no, this thing is,
That's crazy.
yeah.
That's
So it's still there. I will share the link after the conversation.
very proud moment for Liberia and Liberians, and I'm sure, of course, your family as well. So, way to go, my man. Thanks for sharing that, and we'll look forward to the link. I like reading academic articles. I'm also, though I'm not an IT professional, I have huge and immense interest in IT because I love convenience
You're one of
first.
the
Go ahead.
right. Sorry, you're saying it's okay.
I
Continue.
said because I love convenience. I love IT because IT is the way that makes life easier and convenient. But go ahead. You're saying something.
Right. I was just trying to get the link. It's okay. I wasn't saying anything much.
Awesome. So now, besides acquiring your education, you've also built a career portfolio for yourself by getting a job. You also work in Uganda as well, and you started off with your first job being an art director. How did this first professional venture prepare you to, to endeavor into other things that you're doing now in a foreign country?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? My internet is a bit. Sorry, can you repeat?
No problem. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
So I said part of trying to obtain your education in Uganda, you also try to build a professional portfolio for yourself, a career for yourself, and you got a first job as an art director in Uganda. How did that first job set you up for what you're doing now as far as a professional?
And laid the foundation to explore the job market in Uganda. So how did I get this opportunity? Was through a church member who needed someone to offer such services. So it was quite not interesting from the start because it was like my first time to work in a foreign country. I was like, what should I expect? But then it was much more interesting in the long run because I wasn't doing much, so to speak. I was just approving things, which may seem easy, but it's hard on a creative end. So to that, I would say when you leave campus, especially in Uganda, people would tell you that the job market is it's large, but then it's very competitive. But for me, it was not much of a struggle because of two things that I've learned in life, and I will share that as we go on.
One, you're a Liberian, yes.
Yeah, yeah. When I'm a Liberian, man, let me tell you something interesting. My catching phrase in Uganda, whenever I mention to someone I'm from Liberia, it's like I have the intention immediately. That
Yes.
is the catch for any conversation I engaged in. The moment I just mention, hello, my name is Howard, I'm from Uganda, I have the entire audience. That has been my catching phrase. And trust me, it has done amazing things for me over the years, man. You go to a place where you're looking at high profile people and you're like, okay, I know how to get them. Just find a way to get the microphone. The moment you realize I am from Liberia, everyone wants to see a Liberian.
Yes, yes, and they want to know, and what makes us special, what makes us unique. And if you're not tracking that we're special, this is the platform to follow, and we'll tell you why that is.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your company space. You guys, you do design and engineering work that are centered around people to create solutions for businesses that are innovative and user friendly. So how much more different is the business model at Space different from other competitors in the same market?
Thank you. Space is a digital technology company that is centered around designing and engineering products that are based for humans. So if you from the times that we've talked to you, I guess you've realized that I'm very passionate about how people interact with technology. If you are using technology and you're not getting the full experience from it, if you're not enjoying it, if it's not making you feel happy and making you feel like you're being fulfilled, then I feel like that is a problem in itself. So the way space is different is that we actually try to get people at the center of everything we build. So, for example, if we're designing whatever we are designing, we want to design those things for humans because we know that the targeted audience will be people. And if the message is not getting across by someone seeing the design and the design playing on that person's emotion, then we feel like the work is not really done. Most of the other companies out there focus on solutions. As people say, it's about solving problem, which is true. But then if there's still a gap where the users you're solving the problems for, they are not getting the full experience of the problem, though the problem has been solved, that gap is still a problem. And I'm so passionate about bridging that gap. And because of that, I've decided that space is the way to go. So we are different in the sense that we are designing and engineering products for people, for human beings. So we want people to actually use the things we build, use the things we design. We want those things to play on their emotions. We want those things to actually, when they see it, they feel like, yeah, this is sending a message to me. This is actually making me feel happy. If you ever wonder why when you are on a website and you're about to check out, like if you're about to use a payment, if you ever wonder why the process of actually paying for a product is much more harder than signing into an app or signing in or logging in to an account, if you ever thought about that, why is it that way? It's because of human-centered design approach. And this is something that every company needs. And I've realized that most of the companies around there, they just want to build solution-based products, which is very good, which is amazing. But at Space, we build solution-based product for humans, and we actually build relationship with those people while doing that. So our focus is basically not just building solutions, but for people and building lasting relationships as well as we do those things.
Awesome. Now, what a name, Space. And I will tell you that it gives a very big first impression just by hearing the name. And when you think about the name and you think about what you guys are doing, not directly related, at least from my mind, right? So tell us why the name Space, because you come off as a CEO who is a multi-millionaire or multi-billionaire saying that you're the CEO of a company called Space. Because we have another company called SpaceX, which
Just
you just
X.
you just add the X, and that's Elon Musk, a billionaire. So when you drop the X, you come down to space. We're thinking maybe maybe you don't have billions, but you have millions. So why the name Space?
Um, Maybe I'll soon be friends with Elon Musk. You never know. But but anyways, the name has no cliche foundation. So I was thinking about what is that name that when you hear, you don't need to know what it is. Like, what is that name that when you hear exactly it is a catch? You don't need to search it. When you hear space, the first thing you think about is SpaceX. So we're just somewhere near SpaceX, but we didn't get the name from SpaceX. So I was thinking, how can I name this that when someone mentions space, it sounds familiar to them. It sounds like I've heard that name before, space. Yeah, I've heard space before. So I wanted to tap into the SpaceX audience. That's being smart actually, but
Hmm.
actually doing something that SpaceX is not doing. So that name just came about. Yay, you can actually call this thing space because right now this guy is very crazy about sending people to space. So when you mention space, everyone will be like, "What is space?" I think I've heard this before. When you go on Twitter, you say space. It sounds much more appealing and familiar. So I was just trying to hijack a certain audience to gain attraction, and that's very smart. Not many people would do that.
Yes, yes. Putting thought into the things that matter. That's awesome. So now let's talk a little bit about what led to the vision. So one thing that inspired the vision of space is the need to come up with quality work within Liberia, from websites to project management, just producing quality content. How soon though can Liberia expect to greatly benefit from the vision? Because most of your clients currently are based in Uganda.
Yeah, you're correct. However, I still have, I'm not going to mention name, but I still have a very good resource for clients in Liberia. I think some part of last year, I had an opportunity to work with a very good friend, a mentor on the All Liberian Music Festival. So if you saw some of those things, I did not design them, but the thought process behind all those designs that you saw came from the guy before the camera. So that was the foundation for me. And also, right now, there are a couple of products that will soon be in the Liberian market. It's a little bit confidential, so I won't say the name, but there are apps, interfaces that I've already worked on, that Space has worked on, that will be in the Liberian market by the end of this year or so forth. You are right that I have a lot of clients here, but then this is it's an African thing with emphasis on Liberia. So the vision is much more wider than staying in Uganda. It's actually going back to Liberia and getting started from there because that's where I'm from. Uganda has everything. I'm not going to make an impact here. The impact is already here. There are smart people here. Everything that I'm doing is already being done here, but it's somewhat not being done in Liberia. So that is a gap that if I just go back as soon as I can and fill in that gap, man, I think I'll be rich or something like that. People don't ask me for money. I don't have money.
Too easy. And I definitely agree with you. Again, back to our initial point of if you're opportune to leave, you acquire the knowledge, come back, bring that knowledge back, benefit our own citizenry, and we can do more as a group of people. So thank you for that. Now let's
Right.
talk about one last question here before we give you the floor to give your closing remarks. Is we want to talk about the concept of AI specifically. Now, besides using AI for academics, how can Liberians take advantage of AI in the context of just Liberia, considering the way that we live, the things that we do? How can we as a society take advantage of AI before it gets to the point where we are way behind?
Interesting, interesting, interesting. And it's very hard to talk about technology in this day and age without mentioning AI. I would say it's almost impossible to mention technology and forget about AI. So I must commend that question. Any country that has refused to use technology, to use AI, let me not say AI first, to use technology, that country is literally saying that we don't want growth. Any country that is saying, hey, we don't need this thing of technology, it's for the white, that country is literally telling its citizen, we don't need growth. Because this thing, technology in its broad sense, has the ability to propel growth in whatever industry, in every sector. So it is to our advantage. Now, with the incorporation of AI, it is to our advantage to make the most out of this. Why am I saying this? Because AI is out there. It's very easy to use and it's free to use. If you want to use it, go ahead and use it for the betterment of the country. But if you fear that it will replace you, then that's that's not making any sense.
You are not needed
So
in the
to
first place. If you
so
fear
to
that it will
Liberians out there,
replace you,
sorry,
I was gonna say if you fear that AI will replace you, then you are not needed in the first place. You are just a placeholder.
exactly. Like, but we'll get to that, right? We'll get to that in a bit. But I was saying, any country that refuses that, if that country is saying we don't need this thing, then that country is like telling its people like we don't need growth. Because if you look at cities like Nairobi, like Lagos, Cape Town, those cities are becoming the Silicon Valley in Africa. And do you know why? It's because of technology, because of AI, because of the potential growth that it has to offer. And those countries, I may not be right about the numbers, but if you check that GDP growth, you realize that technology, fintech, and AI, and all those amazing things, they have a small percentage on the amount of money they are getting. And these countries, because of that, they are seeing the need to actually finance some tech startups and say, you guys, we know that this technology thing is very good. We're willing to give you this amount of money to actually do more in this field of study. Right now, we don't have those things in Liberia. And I'm saying this is a call to action and it's a call for attention that it needs to be there. We need to take advantage of it. If we don't, we will be left behind as we are already. We are behind the curve. We are totally behind. But here's the amazing thing, we can actually get forward, we can actually move forward if we take advantage of technology and AI and all the other amazing things that it has to offer.
Awesome, awesome. So there is still hope. We just need to act quickly. Act quickly.
Yeah,
So now,
there's
to
still
wrap
hope.
everything up, thinking about yourself, your story, how far you've come. Think about the younger version of you, or maybe a youth same age as when you started getting into IT. What advice would you give that individual to maybe not make the same mistakes that you made, but to come and achieve success at a much faster pace based on what you have seen that is out here?
Thank you. This question has had me thinking for a while, and I'm not going to dodge the question. But before we get there, I had something to say. To those fearing AI, hear me and hear me out. It will never replace you unless you want to be replaced. And I'll get to your question, but I felt the need to say this.
No
The
problem.
human intelligence can never be replaced by any other intelligence. There's no amount of technology there's no amount of technology that has ever been created or that will ever be created can replace human intelligence, can replace human creativity. I'm a very creative person and I know the amount of time and hours I spend into the work I do. And I can tell you, AI will only help me reduce on those hours, on those complexity, but it will not replace me. And no one should fear that because there has been and there will be no technology that will replace human intelligence. We are smart, AI is actually learning from us, and the smarter we get, the smarter it will. But don't fear, because this is a debate that when you mention AI, is something that shouldn't go unnoticed. It's like a conversation that people will talk about. It's all over the internet. I remember it was from the start of this year, Elon Musk tweeted that by the end of 2025, AI will replace almost half of human, and by 2030, it will replace the entire human. So are you saying that 8 billion people in this world will be replaced by artificial intelligence? That is audacious and insanely ridiculous. It will never happen unless if you want to be replaced. So I just wanted to get this message out there because it's impossible to talk about AI and not address the concerns that people have.
For
Now
sure.
back to your question.
Now, and just to add to that, I think the people who have fear of AI are either people who do not know anything about AI or people who have been taking advantage of the very minimum skill that they have that is not really needed, but it was crucial
Right.
at a certain point in time because other people lack those skills. Because for somebody who does something and you want to be good at it, when things and resources come out, your first thought the growth mentality, the growth mindset should always be, how can I use this thing to maximize or to rapidly expand what I'm doing. So if you have that concern, you're not seeing AI as a partner, as a resource to
Right.
to help you get to your objectives faster, then I think there are much
Right.
bigger concerns that you need to address. And AI is not really the problem.
Right.
You're the problem. You might need to find a new
Right. You
PBM.
are the problem.
Mhm.
You are the problem. And let me tell you a secret. Everyone listening, let me tell you the secret. I personally believe AI is
Your
being hyped.
camera, we can
And
hear
the
you.
reason it's being hyped,
We can hear
the
you. Your camera is
sorry,
freezing. Yes,
um, it's
is a little.
lagging. Let me try to sort
It's
that.
freezing. Yeah. But anyways, for those of you
Is
that
it
are
okay now?
watching, we're about to wrap up our interview here today. Thanks for being, engaged with the comments and everything. We have a lot of engagement here today. So if you're not following the 1847 show already, please do. We have a lot of more beautiful people to bring on the platform, more stories to share with you, and most importantly, to promote all things Liberia. We'll bring Mr. Jones back. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Is the camera okay now?
Yes, yes. It looks like you're frozen again. Can you hear me? Hello? Yes. Anyway, thank God I chose not a bad time to be doing this thing. But yeah, so if you're watching, again, please take the time to follow our platform. We need your support. If our message of empowerment, our message of patriotism is going to get out to all Liberians, we need people to follow us, to share what we're saying, to share what we're doing so that it can do that. So please, 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 please follow our platform on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And we want you to help us get this message of empowerment out there, because it's not for us to keep. We cannot promote Liberia by keeping it to ourselves. We promote Liberia by sharing it with Liberians, and through that, other people around the world will see as well. So take the time, follow our platform, and you might just be the next person that will interview on this platform. And for those who have already followed, of course, thanks for following. Let's see if Mr. Jones is back now. Are you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I don't know. The devil in Uganda has just woken up. He wants to end this, on a bad note. But go ahead. I can hear you.
I was sending him back to sleep. I was sending him back to sleep. So
Absolutely.
I was saying, I was right. I was saying, I personally, or I think, not even I think, I believe that AI is being hyped. The reason is because of the 80-20% rule. So 80% has already been done by AI. The remaining 20% is to replace the human cognition, to replace the human intelligence. And those people creating these great technologies, they realize that, yo, we cannot replace humans. So let's hype this thing. Let's create the momentum, the fear for this thing, that even though the remaining 20% that we cannot overcome, if we create this momentum and this hype, people will actually fear it, and they will think that, you know what? I think it has already been accomplished. But hear me out. It's being overhyped. It's really being overhyped. It can do a lot of amazing things. I love it. But the fact that people are trying to raise this fear that it will take my job, it will help you and make your job easy. It will not take your job unless you want to lose your job. So this thing, let me tell you, people, if you just research AI, you'll know that the remaining 20% will never be done. And I'm standing here to be corrected, and I'm open to being challenged. If anyone can prove to me how 8 billion people will be replaced by AI, I think I'm not a part of those, a part of the 8 billion. Just count me out, because I'll never be replaced.
Amen. 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 So yes, to wrap up, if you still remember the question, you can go ahead. If not, I can repeat it for you.
Yeah, let's just repeat the question for those that have just joined in, and then
Yes.
we call this a wrap.
Awesome. Awesome. So the question is, imagining yourself or thinking about yourself from when you were a child, the things that you did not know about IT, and now comparing how far you've come, what you have learned. If someone was like you, who was also trying to pursue the things that you've pursued, what advice would you give them to help them, achieve what you have done at a much faster pace? Yeah, go ahead.
All right, thank you, sir. I don't want to limit this answer to just IT related, but there are two things that has helped me over the years. And this is something that I'm highly passionate about, and this is something that everyone needs to know. And this will be an advice to every young me or older me watching. There are two things. One is the act of inviting yourself into spaces that will help you grow, spaces that will make you a better version of yourself, spaces that will elevate you. You don't need to be invited to such spaces. When you see something out there, you feel like this will make me a better version of who I am. Text the person, text the whoever of the organization, wherever you saw them, message them, hey, how can I be a part of this great journey? How can I actually make what you're doing better? How can I learn from what you're doing? The act of inviting yourself. That has helped me, that has kept me over the years. I'm not saying I'm where I want to be, but with this concept, I will get there. And just with time, invite yourself. If you want to be the president tomorrow, invite yourself in spaces where presidents are. If it will cost you to just carry their briefcases, be humble enough, carry it. And the second advice will be being close to proximity. Be close to people who are actually better than you, who are doing much more amazing things than you. Because the more you hang around those people, the better you become. Be with people, close to people. Like right now, there are a lot of people that sometimes I think the thing that I'm forcing themselves in their spaces, that's very okay. I don't care. As long as I'm getting the benefits of learning. And that in that way, you yourself know how we even met. It's through those two concepts. I was able to lay down my pride, lay down everything, and like, hey, let me text Project Change, let me text Mr. Jabo, let me send a message because I want to be a part of what he's doing. And I feel like if I'm a part of this journey, I will make it better. Those two things, the moment you realize them, it will take you forward in life. And it has helped me, and it is still helping me today. The art of inviting yourself and being close to proximity. So the younger version of me, I wish I had known that from the age 10, but it's never too late. Now that I know it, it's helping me in the long run. And I want everyone to know this and apply this concept. Trust me, it works. And it has worked for me, and it's still working for me.
Amen. Amen. Very powerful and wise words. Anything else, lastly, you want to add that we didn't get to talk about that you want to do?
Well, nothing really, man. This is an amazing show. I believe that much more Liberians are out there. They need to be on this show as well. Yeah. And I like what you're doing. I really do like it, and I'm ready to make this thing go wherever it needs to go. I'm willing to share it wherever. Let it just go.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. And we will do our best to, as far as promotion. This year, we're looking at a different ways to get the platform out there because you really cannot empower or promote Liberia with only a select group of Liberians. You have to get the message out there. So some of the feedback that you give. And then for those that are watching, we're about to wrap up. But please, 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 after we end this interview, please take the time to follow our platform again. I am personally appealing to you. We beg you.
Those that are commenting, don't just comment, follow. It's on
Exactly.
Instagram, it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's on probably it will soon be on LinkedIn. Whatever social media you think, it's on X. Check everywhere, just follow. Do
Exactly.
yourself. If you don't follow, you're not doing yourself the right thing, people.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll put it in simple Kolokwa English. You're following this show here. You're please. People are following the interview. You're please follow our platform on all social media. So we appreciate you. We look forward to sharing more content with you. But Mr. Jones, great interview, very good answers as well. Thanks for making it very interactive. And we hope to bring you back on the platform in some other way, shape, or form. We have a lot of other things that we do here besides interviewing people. So if you'll be interested, we'll be more than likely to invite you on our platform. But thank you for
Man,
today.
any day, anytime. Just know that the invite is already accepted. Any day, anytime. We'll do this. It's all Liberian.
Awesome. Awesome. We appreciate you. Now, for those that are watching, you've been watching the 1847 show. I've been your host, Prince Larmin Jarbo, and this was season 2, episode 4, which is part of our series called Entrepreneurship Essentials. And our guest today was Mr. Harold T. Jones. And if you're watching, please do follow us. But until next time, we ask that you stay safe. God bless you, and God bless our beloved one and only Mama Liberia, that red, white, and blue. Stay tuned for more episodes. We'll see you next week. God bless.
Bosco baby, B to the O, S to the C O, straight out of China. I represent LIB. The song playing in the background is my latest single called Like It or Not. You can find me on social, especially YouTube at Bosco_LIB, and also on Instagram at Bosco_LIB, and also on Facebook at Bus Music. Right now, you're watching the 1847 show. You know it's about you and me and all things Liberian. So follow the 1847 show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on formerly Twitter and now X. So let's go, 2024. See you.
My name is Grace Choma Baba, founder of Destiny Creative Organization and owner at Janine's Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.